Today with Woody J and Mary Hayes.
Good morning.
All right, 42 degrees out this Monday morning, some rain, and we still have a half a chance of rain, mainly till about the time the show's over. When the show's over, it's going to quit raining.
That's perfect.
Is that a Monday
Perfect
omen
timing.
or what? It'll be cloudy, gradually becoming mostly sunny, and we'll have a high of about 46. I kind of think we may make it up to 50 today. Still a 20% chance of late afternoon rain, cloudy tonight, and 36 for the low. Rain likely tomorrow, mainly after the show, after 10 o'clock. Cloudy and a high near 54. So that's our weather forecast. And we, in the headlines this morning, we have the man who had been arrested in the deaths of two girls at the North Hardin Street residence back in December has preliminary hearing in General Sessions Court. And we have a Mossheim couple charged with child abuse and neglect. They were discovered to be under the influence of methamphetamine at their home along Welcome Grove Road. 45-year-old, 37-year-old parents were both charged. See, it's Jeffrey Fontenot and Crystal Fontenot. Neglect among the charges with possession of drug paraphernalia. Investigation was into a domestic dispute. Deputies from the Greene County Sheriff's Department called in. They determined that both were under the influence of meth, admitted having smoked it within the last 48 hours. Those are the headlines, and for the rest of the news this morning and in-depth details, we turn to Mary Catherine Hayes.
Good morning. And this morning we have a lot of activity in the news. Of course, if you didn't know this already, your Girl Scout cookies have arrived. Girl Scout cookies came in on, well, I'm not really sure the date, but they are here. I saw them at the church. They're set to be delivered from February 28th to March the 22nd. So if you haven't got your Girl Scout cookies, you can start calling your local Girl Scout. That's right. The 2015 Cookie Week marks 98 years of Girl Scouts selling cookies, and I'm sure they'll have extra ones available for those of you all did not order them in advance. You should be able to just find you a Girl Scout and get you some Girl Scout cookies. The Walter State project is falling a little bit behind. The original opening date for Walter State was help me out here, Woody. When was it? Anyway, the opening date for the campus edition was in spring. It's going to be spring 2016, and the earlier estimate was fall of 2015. So it was supposed to be open in the fall. Won't be opening until 2016.
Next spring, right? It's supposed to open this fall, but it's not going to open until next spring.
So it'll be a wonderful, wonderful spring when that finally does open up downtown. I'm really excited about that. The Road Committee, Greene County Road Committee, will meet at 6 p.m. on March the 2nd at the Greene County Highway Department to adjust a proposal to implement a process for utilities for workers who work on the county right-of-ways. The Historic Zoning Commission cancels meeting due to lack of business. So Tuesday's meeting has been canceled. Regular meetings are scheduled the first and third Tuesday of each month at 10 a.m. in the boardroom at the Greenville Town Hall, unless, of course, there's no business, in which case they will cancel their meetings. So, the Greene County Education Committee meets Monday, March the 2nd at 3:30 at the James W. Parham Central Office Building. The Education Committee is responsible for presenting to the county commissioners information about the school system for review and also to report to them on their progress. We had a factory or a cafeteria worker at Doak that was dismissed. She is threatening a lawsuit against Doak School for her dismissal. This was related to an incident where it was said that she touched a child. Now, she's a long-time cafeteria worker. I think she'd worked there for 19 years. She said the only thing that she remembered was an incident between two girls. The two girls had gotten into an argument, and that she went over to separate them from their argument and told them that, you know, they'd been friends for a while, needed to kiss and make up or whatever they did, and then next thing she knew, hug and make up, you know, kiss and make up. That was a just an example, but anyway, she told them
figure of speech.
Thank you. Anyway, she said that next day that the police came and reported to her and told her to clean out her desk and escorted her off of the property of Doak School. There's not a whole lot of detail about the actual student, whether or not there are any marks on the student or whether there were any marks reported.
These are the kinds of things that, you know what, folks, we just need to put some common sense into the application of the law.
They also said
and go to the spirit of the law.
Well, and after they supposedly...
You know, the law they're firing her over is a sexual harassment law.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean... Well, the only thing, if I understand correctly, Tennessee is a right-to-work state. That really doesn't mean you have a right to work. What it means is the boss has a right to just fire you.
Well, and she also she also claims that once she was fired, there were two other things brought up on top of that said that she took a child's arm and slammed it on the table. That's what she was fired for. But then after that, she also said she was fired for using the register inappropriately and also using her cell phone inappropriately on the job. So there were a couple of things.
I'd like to see what the pink slip says.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to fire me, I want to make you give me a pink slip.
Well, if she's threatening to sue the county, we may hear more about that as we progress here. There is a clean water advocacy group, which is received a grant from. They received a grant from Patagonia, the apparel gear company Patagonia, and this grant is going to allow them to conduct a biological index of the Nolichucky River. It's a Cobb County-based environmental advocacy group, and their acronym is SWEET, which is CWEET, which is Clean Water Expected in East Tennessee. Now, because they have received this grant, they're going to be hiring a few people. They need volunteers as well, but they're going to be hiring a few people to work down at the river and take samples from the river. If you're interested in volunteering to work with SWEET, you have until March the 15th to fill out an application from the organization's website, which is www.sweet, which is CWEET.org, or you can call this number. It's a nonprofit organization, and the number is 865-453-8535. And what they're doing is they're counting. What they're doing is they're indexing, counting things like macroinvertebrates, insects,
now they're out of Cobb County,
spiders,
right?
mollusks, things like that, to see if there's a difference. And their main concern is U.S. nitrogen. What they think is going to happen is that U.S. nitrogen is taking water out of the Nolichucky, and then when they put it back in, it's got nitrous, whatever they're putting in the water, and it's causing the biological index to decrease,
yes.
Which means there are less, little...
Well, folks, we just might as well get ready for the next 10, 15, 20 years for there to be lawsuits going on in and around the area over U.S. nitro. This is a group that is independent of Park Overall and the volunteers that she has gotten together. So in other words, this thing is bigger than just Park and her group. This thing, in other words, is real.
Yeah, well,
there's a lot of people concerned, and they're rightfully so. And I just hope people start, pulling their heads out of the sand and start paying attention.
Well, there's a quote here from one of the volunteers, and it says, the group is worried about, quote, state-accepted levels of nitrogen, ammonia, and nitric acid that they believe could be discharged back into the river by U.S. nitrogen, and how a discharge could affect river life, including endangered mussels, according to the press release. And the other side, both of the sides have commented on the issue in the paper. The other side is from U.S. Nitrogen, of course, and it says, this company is not concerned about the well-being of... Oh, I'm sorry, that's from Sweet. That's another comment from, and it's Amelia Taylor is the girl's name that these quotes are coming from. This company is not concerned about the well-being of the Nolichucky River or its residents along its shores. They are concerned about one thing, their profit margin. And from the other side, from U.S.
And
Nitrogen.
that's because that's what they get paid to do.
Right. A lady spokeswoman named Amanda Shell Jennings, Freearc, said the company is working to preserve the nearby environment. She says, quote, East Tennessee is our home, and we are investing heavily in environmental best practices to protect its natural resources and scenic beauty.
It's only home until they kill everything, then they move on out, just like they've done elsewhere.
Well, she says the environmental impact to Nolichucky River by a local industry is regularly checked, monitored, and regulated by the TVA, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer, and TDEC.
TDEC, we've already established that none of those
EPA
organizations
standards.
have been doing their jobs.
U.S. Nitrogen is accustomed to regular third-party compliance checks of its processes and outflow sampling through these governmental agencies. We welcome monitoring from official agencies, and we meet or exceed the stringent requirements associated with our environmental permits. So they seem to think they don't have anything really to worry about down there, it sounds like to me.
You know, here's a good example for me to explain my view on what she said. I believe in what she says about like you believe in what the government says. So,
Yeah, you and I are on the same page there, Woody.
you know, so I mean,
And
man,
also,
we gotta start taking care. You know, I had the big deal. Let me throw one in here. Richard, our buddy up on Misery Hill out there in North Green, sent me some stuff over the net neutrality fight that's been going on, and he sent me this story to where they basically it ended up saying, what changes will you see? And that is none. And that's the whole point. Had it not gone down and the new guide been put into place or approved, the changes that you would have seen are the ones that we all fear. That's why this was a good thing, and it's not government overreach, but government doing what government should be doing. But we have there was a nice write-up in the Greenville Sun, and I don't know if it was Friday's or Saturday's paper, but the Associated Press, and I think that's the same story that Richard sent to me. But as we move on, we have a judge denying a plea deal and some other stuff going on with county commissioners.
yes, there was a lady that was charged in the, she was stealing from Greene County Farmers Mutual, and they came to a plea deal, and which both sides were going to accept, and the judge said, no, we're not going to accept the plea deal. He didn't feel like it was enough time. It was going to be Good. It's a Patty Jo Good is the lady's name. She's been charged with theft over $60,000 for embezzling funds from Greene County Farmers Mutual and Fire Insurance Company, and her plea deal was rejected. She's from Clear Creek Road in Chuckey, and she would have served 6 months in jail. And then when she would
what about fines and money paid back? What was that deal?
Well, the judge didn't feel like 6 months in jail was long enough for her to actually have paid for her crimes. And then she would have been on probation for 10 years after that, which that's a class, the problem is it's a Class B felony. And it carries a sentencing in the range from 8 to 12 years. But I guess the judge decided that just was not quite enough.
Well, all the district attorney has to do is downgrade the charges. And that's the way around that. Judge can't stop the DA's office from refiling a lesser charge. So that's a possibility.
The lead prosecutor was, of course, Prosecutor Cecil Mills, who had come up with the agreement that was rejected by Wright. And you know, they're saying that she's actually responsible for embezzling up to $580,000 rather than just the $60,000.
Well, then prove it. You know, prove it without, you know, don't throw that out there. We've already got a $60,000 figure. Everybody's happy if this just goes away, because I'm sure that if there was $500,000, she's not the only one in on it.
Well, it doesn't say in here how much the judge wanted time that he felt was appropriate for her to,
It's just a judge overstepping his bounds, in my opinion. But I mean, you know, I may agree with the judge.
I think
but
the problem was that she wasn't put into place to make restitution quickly enough. That it's a large amount of money, and how is she going to pay back all of this money that's been stolen?
well, if you want to keep her in jail longer, how's she going to pay it back, Judge? That'd be my first question. I mean, look, you know, let's be realistic. We know she's not going to be making any money if she's in jail.
Yeah.
So
she was looking. She was using people. She was involved.
Once
with
again,
actual
some
criminals.
common sense applied to the law.
Right.
You know, if you want me to pay a fine, don't put me in jail where I can't work.
Well, interestingly enough, everybody was prosecuted that was involved, and all of the other plea deals were accepted, except the woman in charge,
and
except
she's
Mr.
the,
Good here.
She's the low man on the totem pole, so to speak. And
or the
that's
high
wrong.
man on the totem pole. She evidently had a lot of criminals working underneath her, cashing these checks and keeping the money flowing. So anyway.
Oh well. And then we have complaints filed against County Commissioner Eddie Jennings.
Now, this is interesting because I could not tell from this story, Woody, exactly what has happened here. Could you?
Well, you want to read the story?
Yeah, I read it, but I can't figure out exactly what the incident was.
You want to read the story and share the story with the listeners and let them comment?
Yeah. So there was an incident that took place, and I'm not really sure exactly what the incident was over, but County Commissioner Jennings went into the EMS office and had a confrontation with two of the ladies in there. They and it was recorded. So he's recorded it, and he's saying that they were rude
He's on
to
the
him.
EMS board.
Right. He's saying that they were rude to him. They're saying that he was rude to them, and so we'll see.
What does the tape say?
Well, nobody's heard
If
the tape.
nobody can figure it out, bring it in. We'll be able to tell who's rude on it.
It happened on October 16th when Jennings visited the EMS office, and he requested to speak with the EMS manager, who's Beta Elliott. And he couldn't get a hold of her, so he ended up having to write a message. And so anyway, the lady in the office felt that Mr. Jennings was threatening to them. And so his response was, "I have never threatened an employee, and I never will." So, and it must have something to do with his wardrobe, because he was trying to go to a commission meeting in uniform, and you're not allowed to attend the county commission meetings in uniform, and so that's listed in here as one of the problems, although it doesn't really explain.
I thought that was just when you were as a appearing before the board as a citizen. I didn't realize that when you're on the commission, you can't wear.
He said that former county mayor Alan Broyles told him to tell the employees that they should not attend commission or committee meetings in uniform. So I guess it's not just him, but he was supposed to go in there and tell everybody in the EMS that when they come to the county commission meetings, don't wear their uniforms.
Right.
Okay. And I guess the two ladies in there felt like he was being aggressive with them.
Oh, I can just imagine how they just went off on him.
Well,
You're not going to tell me how to dress.
Johnson stated in her complaint, yeah, you can't tell a woman how to dress, Woody. It's not a good idea.
No, I mean, that's we know that's where it started right there.
Johnson, this is one of the ladies involved, said that Jennings pointed his finger at her and said, "You tell her that if there are any repercussions taken against the EMS for talking to a county commissioner this week, I will file a Class A lawsuit against her." So I guess they kind of felt like that was a threat.
Well, they had threatened him, is what it was. He walked in, he was going face to face. Look, the mayor said this, and she's going to run and hide from me. Then you tell her. I don't know.
And
That's a scenario that can happen.
Johnson says, this is a quote from her. She says, I did feel he was trying to bully me with his position as a commissioner. That's a complaint that she filed against him.
Oh, in other words, she didn't like the way the boss was doing his job. That's what she had a problem with.
Evidently.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going on, everywhere.
Now, of course, everybody's talking to the county attorney, which is Roger Woolsey. And he said usually these things are taken care of behind closed doors.
Exactly.
And, you take care of them. The public doesn't.
Well, there's a chain of command you go
Right.
through. There's a process, and she jumped to filing a complaint.
Woolsey said that he couldn't remember any other incident where that had gone before the county commission like the one with Jennings. But he said they have a right to take these matters before the commission as well. So
Yeah, but there's a chain of command that's supposed to work, and if the chain of command fails you, then you do go to the next step.
well, Jennings says after all was done, they filed these complaints. Quote, I have a recorder to prove every bit of that is a lie. I want the complaints taken off the record so it will remain nowhere.
Well, if he's got the facts,
and I want
and
them
I'm sure he does.
reprimanded.
I'm sure he
So-
does. See, he went in knowing that they had an attitude against him, so he just had his pocket recorder on and walked in, and boom. You know, I've seen these kinds of stories before, and I've seen disgruntled employees, even when the commissioner was wrong on something else, they try, this is another mixing apples and oranges type deal.
Well, she says, Hallie Jones, who was working in the office, says Mr. Jennings' attitude that was displayed throughout the entire encounter was arrogant, intimidating, and egotistical.
It's not against the law. You know, if that were against the law, then about 3/4 of society would be in jail.
Well, if you're interested in following this story further, the commission will meet at 6 p.m. on March the 16th in the Greene County Courthouse, and they're supposed
That's
to
a
address the
Monday.
issue then. Yeah. And of course, we have a whole bunch of stuff that's been rescheduled after it's been canceled. Greene County Education Committee meeting will be today at 3:30 at the central office. The Greene County
What meeting was that?
Greene County Education Committee, 3:30, right after school. The Greene County Republican Party meeting scheduled for tonight will be put off until Monday, March the 9th. And of course, the Tusculum College Winter Band Concert is on for tonight at 7 p.m. in the Annie Hogenberg Auditorium, and that is free. Now, we have on tomorrow, we have a meeting of the Greene County Workshop, Courthouse Workshop, and Law Enforcement Committee meeting. It's at 6 p.m. at the Annex conference room. Now, the Annex is the one that's over there where you get your tags. Of course, the Greenville Board of Mayor and Aldermen will meet tomorrow night at 4 p.m. in the G. Thomas Love Boardroom at the Greenville Light and Power. And that's the one where you go up the steps in the front and it's over to the right. Now, I have been to that one before, and I will be at that one tomorrow as well, so it'll be interesting. I'll bring you guys a report on what all happened at that meeting. The Budget and Finance Committee meeting will be at 9 a.m. in the conference room on Wednesday, March the 4th. Greene County Budget and Finance Committee, 9 a.m. in the Annex conference room. There will be a commemoration of the 150th anniversary of the 1865 inauguration of President Andrew Johnson and President Lincoln and Vice President Andrew Johnson. It's a temporary station. It'll open at 2 p.m. on the Andrew Johnson Homestead, which is located on South Main, and it will be at 4 o'clock. It's a public program.
When is that?
That was going to be Wednesday, March the 4th.
Okay.
At 4 o'clock. So if you want to see what it looked like when President Lincoln and Vice President Johnson were inaugurated 150 years ago, they're going to be putting on a little skit to do with that. It'll be interesting.
And I have to go down and see Amy Rose today to figure out what city officials and department heads we can get in to interview and some of the things, try to coordinate it with some of the things that are going on with each one of the departments. Right. And maybe promote anything that they have come up.
Sounds good.
Let's see, Bill Jones says, agree with your comments on the U.S. nitrogen Nolichucky River situation. Save the Nolichucky made a post this weekend saying if you really think the environment is less important than the economy, try holding your breath while you count your money. And of course, U.S. nitrogen doesn't support outside monitoring of the river, but if these things are not needed, then we wouldn't have to have outside investigations of our governing bodies, such as Senate, House, etc., TDEC, very good point there. We've got, this is what, when I wade through all the BS and I get down to the bottom line, okay, we have so much corruptness in our system. It runs so deep and is woven within the fabric of our Constitution now. How do we get it out? How do we move forward and survive as a society? We're killing our planet, we're killing our neighbors, we're killing each other, we're killing. Well, how are we gonna, what are we gonna do, man? I mean, geez, do you really think, oh, there's nothing going on, you're all just paranoid, God is gonna do it when in His own time? Maybe God is getting His own time increased by our behavior.
Well,
Waiting on us to change, I mean, we have a political system broken. We have a financial system broken. Nobody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to bury their head in the sand. Okay, let's just all kill ourselves then. I mean, that's basically what we're doing.
What kind of weekend
It's a
did you have?
No, I'm just trying to, folks, we've got some serious problems going on. What can we do about it? How can we can we get enough people together to actually go out and vote and make a difference? Can we show that more people can beat more money? Is it possible? I see it happen in other countries. I see other countries standing up, but I don't see us standing up.
The thing that I keep coming back to on this U.S. nitrogen, okay, and
Uh-huh.
no matter how hard I try, and I try to look at both sides, I try to look at both sides of everything. I try to look at both sides of everything before I make an opinion. But when you come into a town and you do something in secret, behind doors,
Yeah, I know.
in private meetings that other people are not allowed to have any part of, it just sort of makes me wonder, like, why would you need to do that?
There's an awful lot of smoke around for there not to be a fire.
Because if we're in such desperate need of jobs and places for people to work in this town, then it seemed to me like they would come to town with fanfare rather than come to town behind closed doors.
We have some jobs here. I've talked to business owners. The people don't want to work in this town.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the business owners that I've talked to, they have jobs available. No, they're not the most wonderful jobs in the world.
Right.
But you know what? They pay at least $10 an hour. That's more than minimum wage. $10 an hour is pretty decent money for the economy that we live in here in Greene County. I remember a guy, a concrete guy and bricklayer, and he does the artistic concrete layouts and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he's from Cincinnati, and he was down here working on a couple of projects, and he said, man, nobody wants to work. They want a paycheck, they want to go buy their pills, and then they don't want to show up. And that was the biggest problem that he was having. Local business owners I know that are hiring or that have jobs available, the people don't want to work that go in. And that is a problem. I'm afraid that when U.S. nitrogen comes in, I'm afraid that it's going to be taken from somebody that already has a job, and then they're going to try to fill that person's, those are going to be limited jobs for the jobs that require education and skill. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. Anyone else have a comment? What do you think? Do you think all the people? Do you think there are jobs here, and people won't take them, or do you just think there aren't any jobs? And we're not talking good jobs. The bottom line is jobs.
Well, I have an issue.
How
with
good
that.
of a job's going to be at U.S. Nitro when you're killing? If you have an accident there, if the plant blows up, which those things happen a lot.
I think in factories in general, there's always the opportunity for someone to get
Exactly.
injured. You know, that's just
Exactly.
something. But there's a difference between an injury that happens within the factory and an injury or an accident which could occur that could cause environmental damage, the likes of which we might not ever be able to recover from. That's my
Right.
major concern that I have about, about this situation. Yeah, and I think that just because I don't like the notion of, yeah, there's plenty of jobs out there, but they're really horrible, and you have to work in terrible conditions, and you have to breathe in, these terrible
Well, see, that's the
chemicals
thing about
or-
it. Most of the jobs that you have those risks, they are good paying jobs, and that's why the people take them, like the coal miners. They make pretty good money. And, there's so much of that part of Kentucky and Virginia, that coal mining industry, that those towns thrived. And then they started dying off. And here's what gets me, is then the companies don't want to pay for the mesothelioma and all the other things that, the black lung, all the disease that are directly related to those careers.
And I'm just going to counterpoint there. I don't think that the coal companies, if you look historically, necessarily paid the best wages. They paid the only wages. There were
Well,
no other.
that's true, but
there were no other
but-
jobs in the.
But U.S.
in that area.
Nitrogen, it takes some technical skills to work there, so those jobs are better paying jobs. I stand corrected on that. Yeah, and they were the only jobs available.
Yeah. So, and that's why they explain
And that's
why
the same
coal.
thing here. Wow, only job available, U.S. Nitro. Really? Well, look at what happened to the coal miners and their families. Look what is still going on with them.
Yeah.
Proof is
coal
in the
miners
pudding.
left. They
Proof is in the
left
pudding.
all the environmental degradation. They left the pools of the filth behind. They pulled out, and the people there in those areas, you can go there now and you can see. Yeah, they might have been earning money when the coal companies were there. But the minute those coal companies left there, they are left
But
with
look what's happening to their
the mountains
grandkids
that
now.
are ruined, grandkids that are coming down with cancers that they can't explain where
And
they
selling
came
meth
from.
to survive.
Yeah, because there is
Because
nothing
there
else.
is no
Because-
job available.
When they had the opportunity to build something that would be productive for their community, they did not do so. Instead, they took all their natural resources and handed them over to other people to take out of the area. That's
Yep.
the same thing we're doing with U.S. Nitrogen. We're taking a river, which is one of the only natural resources that we have left,
And one of the few clean rivers left.
and we're handing it over. Yeah, no, that's no joke. If you go
Can
to
you
any other-
imagine? We're going to be just like the Holston River over in Kingsport and Rogersville.
which you cannot eat
Even
the
get
fish
in.
out of,
You
by
can't
the
even
way.
get in
And
it.
there's a big sign on the outside. I mean, you can go down there and catch catfish,
Do not
but you
eat
can't
fish.
eat it because, hey, it's got everything from those plants up there in Kingsport that's picked up all the way down the road. Beautiful. They look beautiful. But when there's a sign there saying, oh, you can't eat this, that tells you that it's mercury and heavy toxic chemicals, like ammonium or whatever they're putting in.
Yeah. We need to be looking at sustaining our resources instead of depleting our resources. We need to look in renewable energy. We have the technology. Remember that from the $6 million
I
man?
sure do.
We have the technology. Here's what
We can rebuild him.
I got
We have the
to.
tech. That's what they say before.
Yeah, the Army tried that and it didn't work. Well, we have to do something. How do we become? What kind of incentives can the city and county governments offer some of these companies out there to come in? Okay, we don't want to mess up our beautiful scenery with solar panels. What about putting solar panels on all structures? Greenville becoming the first town to be all solar panel. And Greenville Light and Power, get on this bandwagon so you can roll along and make money off of selling the panels. Or whatever substation it's going to take to run the panels. Figure out how to take your business into the next millennium or lose out just like small people.
Well,
But wouldn't that be cool? Get rid of all our power lines. Think about that. All the power
I think
lines
about that all
gone.
the time because I couldn't figure out for a long time when I went to Ireland what was missing.
Why couldn't we do it?
They do not put power lines up
No.
outside they keep that countryside pristine and beautiful
Yes,
because
they do.
they understand that if tourists, agro-tourists, and tourists are going to want to come to Ireland, they're going to want to see Ireland like it was 300 years ago or 500 years ago. They don't want to see Ireland with a bunch of lines. So it is possible to do this.
Germany does the same
If
thing.
you're just concerned about your environment enough, you will make sure that it's not messed up. You can preserve it if if it's important.
But see, the
enough.
thing about it, no one wants to accept the fact that as Americans, as citizens, as human beings, we have responsibilities. We weren't taught that on a level that we should have been taught that. But we have responsibility. We've been discussing on the show. We have civic responsibilities to get involved with the political situation. We have, as a business owner, they have a responsibility to their employees, not just the privilege of making money, but there are responsibilities that go with everything. We have responsibilities as citizens to go vote. If we don't vote, we can't complain and say the system doesn't work. Because the system worked, we didn't play along. And then you get the people, well, mine doesn't count, I voted, but still, the guy I voted for lost. Yeah, I know, because you and your neighbors, did your wife vote? Did your dad vote? Did everybody you know vote? No, that's not happening. It's a responsibility, it's not just a right. With rights comes responsibilities.
Well, and speaking of green energy earlier, now we know that we've got the schools in the area, 4 schools that have the solar panels. Did you know we
Right.
actually have a solar panel company in Greenville on Cutler Street?
I did not.
Yeah, we do. We have a company called Green Tech Renewable Energy located on 203 North Cutler Street.
We need
So,
to go talk to
they're
them and
we
get them
need
on the
solar
show.
panels,
Get
yeah.
them on the show.
We should. That would be interesting to see, exactly what.
See if they're working on the next internet. How can
Right.
we do this
And
faster
see,
and better?
and how much would it cost you to put solar panels up on top of your house? And then I know it would be an initial investment. And that's always the problem. Is
Right,
that there's initial
right.
investment. Wonder how long it would take before you would start saving up. Okay, so what happens is the sun hits them, right? And so when the sun's hitting the solar panels, they're working themselves. So the
Not
sun,
just when the sun, but even on cloudy days, even at night, they're pulling light energy.
So does it store the energy in
It
the cells?
stores, and see, the thing about it is it stores it, but you can also transport it to a location like the panels out at South Green. They're transported from those panels to
To the
wherever
electric
they're
company. So
going.
technically you could be making money by producing electricity on
Right,
top of it.
exactly.
Technically. I don't know if that's how it
Yes,
works
yes,
or not.
yes. You can. Yeah, that is exactly correct. But we have ways of doing things. We have areas where the wind is blowing all the time, so we don't have big windmills out like a windmill farm. But we have some windmills on farms like you used to see, and we're harnessing that energy and turning it into electricity.
Uh-huh.
The waves of the ocean were another one that they're using to produce energy. There are so many ways that energy is being produced out there, and we have to start doing something. I mean, we're on our way out.
Right.
Let's see, Bill says, great idea, Woody, on solar panels. We have such a great city name to become
Yeah.
the Greenland. No kidding.
We do, really.
Really. The new Greene County, the new Greenville. Let's go green in Greenville, or let's go green in Greene County. Yes, Mary, on the solar panel company. Would love it if you could get them on the show.
Yes, I didn't even. I just this moment realized that we have such a thing, and who would have thought? We've been sitting here thinking,
Who'd have
oh,
thought
we need to bring a solar panel. Well, we've got one in here that's doing it already. So let's see exactly what their business model is and what their objective is.
Did you find them on the web?
No, yeah, I did. I found them. Let's see if I. Yeah, they're called. Did I say that green? There's another one too in Mossheim called Green Tech Renewable Energy. And they do the same thing, solar panels, which, you know, all the research that I've read says that this is an upcoming thing, particularly in Tennessee, because we have so much open farmland.
Well, and Bill Bill, you're reiterating what I said in the beginning. Yes. You said here that we need to make solar panel idea work. We need to give tax incentives to the builder. That's what I'm saying. We need to figure out the city and county some way to give some kind of incentives to get the companies here. Maybe an incentive of giving, but also getting some electricity. You know, we were talking about having city internet the other day. Well, what about city solar power? You know, that's, you know, maybe the city and county start the green initiative, the real, true green initiative of going green in Greene County. We have the branding and marketing idea. I mean, it's right there in front of you. You know, how could you not brand Greene County as being green when you're doing green things? And we're talking about bringing greenbacks to the pockets of everybody. But I think that
you can actually go to Facebook and check out Green Tech. It's called Green Tech Renewable Energy LLC. Solar Energy Service, and they're located on Facebook if you want to see kind of what they did. It looks to me like they have a wide array of things. They've got the panels, but they also have the windmills as well, so you know.
Wow.
So they got a lot of technology that they offer, and they've actually been in the area since 2008. Goodness gracious.
Okay, so see, there's some visionaries. I wonder if they're local people that own it.
It'd be interesting.
That would impress me the most. That would be me saying to you, see folks, local people getting involved with the future. Not saying no, not keeping their heads buried in the sand. You want to make a difference, you want to make a change. If you want to make a change, you have to quit saying no. Period. There is no other way to do it.
You can't say I want to change. I want to change my life, but I'm not going to do this.
Well, I'm going to do this,
and I'm not doing that.
I'm not doing any of that stuff, buddy.
No, that's out of the question.
No.
Find me an easier way to change.
You find me a way instead of me finding you. Right. That's.
Oh my goodness. Bill Jones says, "Good morning, Bill. By the way, we're glad to have you back with us. We missed you last week." He says, there must be a market for these products to have two companies in the area. Where? I have only seen the panels at school so far. Now, do you want to know what my theory
There's
on this
some small
is?
panels throughout the county.
Yes. I've seen them on people's
Just
houses
like
and
one,
stuff.
well, I'm talking about just one small section of panels that's sitting on the side of the road facing up. There's several of those around the county.
Yeah, I've not noticed them until our recent conversation about this. I've not paid any attention to the solar panels whatsoever. What I would say to that, Bill, though, is you don't necessarily have to be a company that's going to come in and pollute the water to get access to the tax incentives and the advantages of building a company right here in Greene County. You know what I mean? So I'm sure that these green renewable companies are also receiving the same benefits that for example, U.S. Nitrogen would receive. I may be wrong about that.
Oh, here we have Ray this morning commenting in we'll call him our resident pessimist. You two sure dream big. The solar idea is wonderful to dream about, but do you remember the problem funding the wheel tax? Try to fund solar. No one would vote for a fee for it. Well, yeah, they would if the county and the city had already shown. See, the deal on the wheel tax, people say, no, show me where what happened here with the money. That's why they're saying no. I mean, a lot of folks know that we have to have, it's going to come down to us property owners to be able, everybody out because they're going to force one of those taxes. But a little bit different of the. Yeah,
It gets
you're
you,
right.
doesn't it, Woody?
You're right. Somebody, numbers of people are going to say no. That's what they do. They don't want change. They want to stay stuck back in 1877. And I don't understand that. And what gets me is when people say, well, it was good enough for my dad, his dad, all the way back to my great-great-great-grandfather. And I say, no, that's not true. If you have an indoor toilet in your house, what was good enough for your great-great-granddad is not good enough for you. I don't care what the technology is, because that's what we're trying to see. There's more technology than your bathroom, you know.
And
So that argument doesn't hold weight with me.
And I'll argue that
Just on the bottom basic common.
great-great-grandfather is dealt with a lot of the same issues that we deal with here in Greene County. In particular, your great-great-grandfather would have dealt with the issue of the children going to other places to get more economic advantage. A lot of people left during the 60s, and if that's your great-great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather, there was a mass migration out of
But
Appalachia.
look
in
at all the
60s.
people that migrated from Greenville and Greene County
They went
up to DeKalb, Illinois
and
to
Michigan,
work for
and
Monsanto.
Ohio, and all these places
Which was
where
DeKalb corn back then, but it's Monsanto now.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people left the area, and you know that was a
But they
problem that
kept
we're still
coming back
dealing
and
with.
forth, and we have a lot of people up from that part of Illinois that live down here and have made down here home.
Right. But a lot of people, like I have, let's see, I have 5. There were 5 kids in my dad's family, and there's only one of them that ended up staying in East Tennessee out of those 5. The rest of them got education and ended up in Chicago, Ohio. They moved away, you know.
Where jobs were.
Where the
Good paying jobs for people that got
you know, we
educated.
talk about good paying jobs, but people, what goes in hand with good paying jobs is all the things that come as a result of living someplace where they offer good paying jobs. You're talking about good health care, you're talking about good education for your children, good social services for your family.
Yeah.
So it's not just the jobs. There's, you know, what goes hand in hand with the jobs are the benefits often that keep people. You know, if you know you can live someplace where your kids are going to be able to go to an Ivy League school when they graduate, you're going to be more likely to stay in the place where they can go to the Ivy League school. You know what I mean? If you know that you're living in a place where your education system
But see,
is
that's
mediocre.
just it. The mindset is not to get an Ivy League education, because an Ivy League education wasn't
Well,
necessary.
it is to people who move away from here
But
and want
it
the best
wasn't-
for their kids.
Well, you don't
But it
have to have an
wasn't for our
Ivy League
great-grandfathers.
education, but you have to have a quality education.
Right.
But the drive, so many people don't have drive. Just like the jobs that are available out there,
I'm
but they
listening.
won't take the jobs because they have to work and they can't get high and stay up all night. I don't know. I ask you, what do you folks think? What do we need to be doing? What needs to happen? Let's see. Bill also says, well, that tells me if we haven't noticed these panels, then they must be blending into our country. Good point. They must be blending into our countryside. Maybe they can be set up next to the expensive subdivision without ruining the view. Okay, Ray, I appreciate your thoughts, he says, but if we want to keep young people in the area, then I think the green theme will get a lot of them stirred up and join this movement. We would have to get the educational system stirred up about the green theme also. Not sure of any curriculum on green. Give them time, I'm sure they're working on it with Common Core. Maybe some students could call in and let us know. Good guess would be to have some reps from local colleges or school board. Sorry I'm rambling, but you have touched my heart this morning on the environment. Thanks. Glad to know that. Glad to know that we've touched somebody and made them stop and think and care. If only for that moment you stopped and thought about it. And that's what we have to do. We have to continue on and stop and think. And we have to want to, man, we have all gotten in such a habit of just throwing our hands up and being done with it all. I know it's tough. Tom and I were talking about this early on when, he said, oh, there's this committee and that committee and that committee. And it is difficult to get remotivated. But now what we do, Bill, is if we've touched this nerve with you this morning, take it and do one good thing with it today. Reach out to one person, do one good green thing, come up with one idea. Okay, I'm going to do this little bitty thing. No matter how small, just make some difference in going green in your life and expand it as far as you can, but just some little something, then you've done your part for the day. And I challenge everyone else to go in and do the same thing. I made the comment, I try to do something every day for somebody. Think of someone else and not myself. I see people out, and here lately, when we were having the sub-zero wind chill weather forecast, I would pick people up, I'd see carrying groceries, knowing they didn't have a car, knowing that they had a walk ahead of them, and I would give them a ride. I gave one guy a ride all the way out past the interstate to Mossine. Just doing something to help someone and the environment. Yeah, I know that sounds all sappy and crappy and all of that to you macho men, but that's okay. Because if enough of us put this thought and this energy into it, we can make it a reality. So many things in life have been made realities because people got together. Look at Dr. Martin Luther King and what he was able to accomplish. We have the technology. We have the ability. We have the intelligence. Do we have the drive? Do we care enough? And it goes back to what I was saying earlier, is we are out. It's not anything that I want to do I don't want to be responsible. I just want. I want to want. And that's kind of where we've gotten to in society. And we've got to change that. We've got to quit burying our heads in the sand. We've got a lot of issues going on right here in Greenville and Greene County. And we have so many people that are sharing an opinion, yet they haven't even heard the facts on either side. They've just heard gossip, rumors, hearsay, what someone else said, someone else's ignorant opinion. Just because you respect their opinion, you can't believe everything they say. There are no two people alike. You may think you know someone, but you may not know them on this issue. You may not know them on that issue. It's time for us to come together. It's up to us to make government work. They have a system for us. All we have to do is participate in that system. 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, you folks in Greenville. There's a Mayor and Board of Aldermen meeting right down at the G. Thomas Love boardroom at Greenville Electric. Now, the only way we're going to get things done is by working together. You don't have to be a Democrat, a Republican, a Libertarian, a Baptist, a Catholic.
Woman.
All you got to be is a citizen, a human being.
We've got some exciting stuff coming up this week, Woody. You probably don't even know about it yet.
Well, I mentioned, all I did was I mentioned the meeting tomorrow, the city board meeting that's coming up. And see, here's an example, people getting together. The Greene County Republican Party, they had a meeting scheduled for tonight, but it's been postponed to Monday, March 9th. You know, Even they're getting together. They're doing something the other side
I
is
wonder
not
what that
doing.
meeting would be like.
I see I've seen on average 4-1 to the Democratic women's meetings.
So you're saying there's 4 times as many
I see-
Republican women as
No. I'm saying they have more meetings.
the
Or they
Republican women?
Yes, they advertise more meetings. I'm saying I see.
Right, I gotcha.
Over the last 6 years, about a
I
4-1
don't know if you've
ratio.
been sneaking into the ladies, Democratic meetings with your camera, Woody, or what exactly you've been doing there that, you're sneaking in there.
No, I don't
Oh,
sneak.
ladies, I gotta record this.
I don't sneak.
I know how you
I
are.
don't sneak. That's the thing
It's
about it.
important breaking news, ladies.
People
Get out
don't
of the
see
way.
it. People don't see it because their heads are buried in the sand. I walk right in and I'm right up front. And that's just the way I operate.
Have you ever
That's the way I
covered? Have
roll.
you ever covered an event before that you really didn't need to cover just because you wanted to be there because there were some hot-looking ladies around? Woody, tell the truth.
No. Every time I've covered an event, I've covered it as what the event was. I covered the facts of
Right.
what was going on. It's different. When you report and you operate as a news reporter, it's different than going out and being a Geraldo Rivera and doing those kinds of news stories. Well, there used to be. There's not anymore. We had a responsibility back when I started news. In fact, I got out of news and went into the entertainment side because I had more freedom of speech.
In the entertainment.
And on the entertainment side, I could say more as a disc jockey than I could say as a news reporter. And
Well, that's interesting. You wouldn't have thought that would be the case. I had to think about that for a minute and just visualize it because you typically think of disc jockeys being entertainers.
Right.
And if you're the news you should
guy,
have a
exactly.
you have a-
Professional news.
right. You should
know,
be able to discuss the
as-
topics as you see fit.
When I did news, this was the other thing. When I was a news reporter, and I never did commercials. News people were not allowed to do commercials.
Wonder why? Because it would seem like
Because, well, number one, a news reporter, a quality news reporter would say, I'm sorry, I'm not endorsing any
they
product.
were right. Because that's what I was going to say.
I'm just not going to do it. And
you come to
as a
somebody
DJ,
at 6 o'clock every
as a
night for your
DJ,
news.
I got paid to do those commercials.
Right.
So
Right. So
You know.
if you're a news reporter like somebody like Brian Williams, you tend
now
to
you're
look
supposed
at
to
him.
be. He was supposed to be. See, he's supposed to be of integrity.
Right.
Okay.
And you look at him and you listen to what he says and you base your opinions on the things that he's saying. So you don't
Because of
want
his
that person.
credibility.
Because of the credibility. So
And
you
that's
don't
what
want that
happened with him. He
person
lost his
selling
credibility.
stuff, because if that person's selling stuff, then it just like takes the credibility out of what
Right.
they're doing, and that
Exactly.
means they could be saying something based on whatever
But
product.
see,
is
and now
selling.
here's the difference between that. Paul Harvey.
Yeah.
Now Paul Harvey had news and commentary, and the rest of the story. But Paul Harvey did commercials for Buick because they gave him a brand new Buick every year.
Yeah.
He did all the products that Paul Harvey advertised, like track phone being the best service back then. He had track phone. You don't think of somebody like Paul Harvey having track phone.
But he used everything that he.
But he talked. Not only did he use it, he said he used it because it was a quality product and the best. Same thing with the Buick. He turned down Ford because he did not believe in their products. So he kept an element of credibility in his, from his perspective. But yeah, we never, when I covered news, and the other thing that was interesting back when I did news, number one, news people did not talk about what party they were from, because they were usually not from any party, because they walked in with the attitude, the hell they all lie.
Mm-hmm.
My job is, you say it, you better be able to prove it. Because if I can prove what you're saying is not true, I'm going to do it. I don't care if I am the far left of the left-wing party. If President Obama did something stupid and or illegal, I nailed him on it.
Right. No,
And
no.
we didn't play politics. We did news.
I got
We
you.
didn't play politics. We told the real story.
You know, that's
But back then, they worked together. The Democrats and Republicans.
right, and this would have been
This was back in the late 70s and early 80s.
right.
And see, the career path, or the career I chose, my chosen profession, has become an embarrassment to me. The news media. It is such an embarrassment.
Compared to what it started out as. And
And what the FCC and what rules, you know, we were there to tell the story, the truth. We don't have to give sources because of First Amendment rights, but we better make sure that those sources are correct.
right.
we
but
were
you have
held-
to have it to back it up. just
We
in
were
case.
held to a higher standard, even at the small Greenville level radio station. But we did real news. We didn't just do the soft news.
I think that it's difficult. I mean, me personally, let's say if I read one of these stories and I'm going to report to you all on it, it's hard to not interject your own personal feelings about the issue into your reporting.
If
It's
you
difficult.
stick to who, what, when, where, why, how, and how much, no, it's not.
You can still put a spin on
No,
it, though. Even
but
the
not
fact of
not
what,
by
when,
sticking
where,
to
why.
those facts. You cannot spin it if you give just the facts. It's
If
when
you
you
give just the
start
facts.
giving opinions and throwing in figures of speech, and that's when it gets off track. But if you tell who, what, when, where, why, how, and how much, those are facts, and that's what the truth is. And that's what the press's responsibility used to be. All this crap they spit now, a news director or a newspaper editor would have laughed you out of the studio or off the press floor and out of the newsroom,
Right.
giving
And that's
you
a
your
problem.
last paycheck.
Because the news has become entertainment.
Well, Rupert
You have to entertain
Murdoch,
people.
exactly. And see, that's the thing about Fox. They had to finally say that they weren't really a news organization, that they were entertainment, because they were getting blasted of all the things that they were telling that weren't facts. And so that's when they started, because if they were going to be a news organization, they were about to take the beating.
Because they would be.
Just like Rush Limbaugh. He's just a fathead dopehead.
You don't like Rush Limbaugh?
No. Anybody that talks about drug addicts and then while he's a drug addict himself, having his illegal maid to get drugs for him because he's taking more than what his doctors will give him. I mean, geez. Yeah, Rush Limbaugh's full of crap.
That was definitely him. I remember when that happened. I
You know,
was
I mean,
surprised,
geez,
and I
no,
thought,
I'm
wow.
sorry. At least Don Imus, who's always been a radio personality, at least he didn't lie about cocaine habit, lie about being an alcoholic. He's used his issues all of his life. Everybody's known about it. His life has been out there,
Right.
you know, and he's fought some hellacious addictions. And now it's about killed him. I mean, you know, he's on oxygen half the time now.
Did you see where, speaking of people with addictions, where there's been a new counseling center open up downtown?
Oh, I did
It's
not.
a native Greene County lady. Her name is, look at Lisa Cox, and she has her bachelor's degree and master's degree in social work, and she has opened a clinical practice. She treats depression, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder, trauma-related abuse, parenting support, grief and bereavement, coping adjustment, chronic illness, and she is located on the corner of South Main and West Summer Street downtown. So we've been talking about businesses opening up downtown. Here we have a counseling center. If you have questions, you can contact the office at 525-4534.
I recommend that if you're having any kinds of serious issues and you're thinking negative thoughts, if you're in depression, you know, get some help. This too shall pass. And I know your depression sometimes may seem that it's the end of the world and you can't get through it, but you can. Proof of
Yeah,
that
that'll
would be
be
I'm still here.
Right.
You know, I mean, it has all passed.
Well, I drive around. I think a lot about the downtown. I live downtown. And so I think a lot about what we talk about in here as far as downtown goes, what's going on down there.
Mm-hmm.
And I drive around there a lot, downtown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going back and forth to the house and coming to here, you know. And I think about what are the things that we could try to put in that area that might long-term help the city grow. You know?
And
No, that's, well, I
what
was
have
just
you
going to
come up
say,
with?
well, I haven't really come up
But
with.
see, here's the thing about it. Putting in a counseling office, a doctor's office, from my perspective, that's just like putting another lawyer's office. You know, I'm not going downtown to spend money and have a good time. You see, that's not the revitalization. I mean, and then say, how can you revitalize a downtown that is full of what we have downtown? And you've got one street there, Depot Street, that has a few buildings. But what kind of street could we make Depot Street?
Well,
You know, what would keep the young people? What would make tax dollars through income taxes? Restaurant. See, there's a food tax. Greenville gets a food tax. So the more food they sell, the more money. You know,
Right.
it's like they get an extra tax on top of the sales tax. You know, it was voted in for something that needed to be done, and that the food tax was put on. And you know what? How do you? I don't want to be a buzzkill, but how do you revitalize a downtown that doesn't have enough empty buildings to revitalize a downtown?
well, the first thing,
I mean, that right there, first and foremost, you have some buildings on Depot Street, and that's about it. Number one, those buildings are falling apart. No one is going to come and invest $1 million to get the thing up to code. I know someone that owns a building downtown, and they're looking at $1 million just to get the building up to code.
and yet, I would argue, we see businesses come in down there all the time, and yet it seems to me like they come in and then they leave. They come in and they leave. Like,
Well, there's several reasons.
what do you think the reasons for that are, Woody?
Well, number
Not
one,
enough traffic?
no,
Not number one?
there's not enough traffic that's downtown to get whatever it is that you're down there for. Look, nobody, if I need a shirt and tie, I'm not going downtown today to get it.
Right.
If I buy it in town, it'll be at Belk or Penny's. Chances are it's going to be either Joseph A. Banks or Men's Warehouse, because I'm going to go buy one and get 3 free because I'm tight.
Is that how that works? You buy one, you get 3 free?
At Joseph A. Banks.
You buy one shirt.
Buy
you get-
one suit, you get 3 free.
That sounds like a real
Buy
deal
one
to me.
sport jacket, get 3 free.
Okay.
Oh, but you know how much that one costs?
No.
The price of 4.
Okay. It's a good business model anyway. It makes you feel like.
But back to your question, that's another thing. Business plans. So many businesses are open up and they don't even have a business plan. You talk to them, ask them about their business plan, they get offended. They think you're asking personal business, you know. And no, a business plan is something you want to share. You want people to understand the thought and process of your business. And I see that a lot of times. I see, number one, I've had several people to comment on the business plan that I have that know the entire scope of what I'm doing. And they've suggested some changes, but overall it's a solid plan.
Right.
And now, it's taken me 2 years to get to this point where I am right now. And so, most people by now would have given up. 2 years, I hadn't made anything in 2 years, hadn't done what I wanted to do in 2 years, I'm quitting. Can't afford it. I'm lucky enough that I can continue on.
5 years is what I always heard.
That's what I've always heard. But see,
So if you start
we
a
let
business,
our own delusions of grandeur.
we do. Me and Woody have delusions of grandeur, you all, for sure.
Everybody does, especially anyone that's motivated enough to try to run a business.
Right.
You have to have, number one, some confidence, number two, a little bit of ego. That's just it. If you don't have that kind of drive, then you don't have the kind of drive it takes to be successful. But people think, oh, I should be able to do it. Yeah, you should be able to, but that's, you take should have, could have, and would have in one hand and 50 cents in the other, and you could almost make a phone call 5 years ago. But everything comes back to personal responsibility and personal desire. Let's see what Ray's got to say here.
Well, there's some comments left over from what we were talking about earlier, I left those for you.
Where are those comments?
Oh, you had them pulled up over there a few minutes ago. I don't know. Maybe you read them when I went.
Yeah,
slipped out
we've
for a
already
second.
we've already gone. Well, I don't know here. See
So it would
this
probably
one.
be that top one.
Yeah, I believe you're right. Well, that tells me if we haven't noticed these panels, then we must be blending into the countryside.
That one, did you
I
read
read
that
that
already?
one.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was an astute observation.
Yes. It is. It is.
But
Now
you
that
know-
I know what
but you
they
know-
are,
but you
I
know-
know what they are. But before, I didn't have a clue what they were.
But how many times have you driven by something and never really seen it? Because
Yes,
you're in your
a
own
bunch
world.
of times. Unless you see it being constructed, you don't
We do
notice
that.
it. It's
We
just
do that
there
as
one
humans.
day.
We do that as human beings. We get tunnel vision and we don't pay attention. I guess would be a good thing.
Yeah, but some people are more observant than other people as
And
well.
that is
you
true.
know, and
That
I'm
is
not-
also true.
I get out in the world and I'm less observant sometimes than
Yeah,
And I should
I
be.
get tunnel vision because my goal is to get from point A to point B. I'm not interested in making anything happen between point A and point B. I want to get to point B.
You ever do that
I
thing where
can't make money without getting from.
you ever do that thing where you're driving and then all of a sudden you look up and you've been thinking and
Where the hell am I?
where you're someplace where you didn't even that happens. I think
I
that
have
happens
had that to
everybody,
happen.
yeah.
Yes, I have. But
It has certainly happened to me. I'm like, oh, I was supposed to be going to the grocery store, but I was listening to this song, or I was having a really, really good thought about something, and
well, I was going to go by the bank the other day and get a receipt to see how much money I had in the bank, and because I had some receipts in my pocket, and I was going to balance out the checkbook, and I'm driving down the road, I look up and I see it says 52 degrees on the bank sign, and I just keep driving. Didn't turn in to check. So I get home and think, oh man, I drove right by the bank and didn't stop. So,
yeah, I do that all the time.
well, that gives me an excuse to get out of the house later.
Yeah, you like to stay on the road a lot, don't you? I like to go. I'm the kind of person where I like to get all my running done, and I want to go to my house, and I want to be undisturbed. You, on the other hand,
I get out, I have to get
you're like
a lot
a
of,
hummingbird. You come in for a little while, and then you flit out again. You come in and you flit out.
well, there's a purpose for each one of those. And see, I do that throughout the day. So at nighttime or late in the afternoon, if there's not a meeting that night, by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I can be looking at getting in my pajamas for the evening.
There you go.
So that's why I'm out.
I like to, about 2 o'clock, I like to be in my pajamas for the evening. So I'm just on a little earlier schedule than you. 3 hours
Yeah.
sooner than you. So do you ever,
Are
there
you
any,
really wanting to let everybody know you have no life?
well, I have to work from home. When I get done with this, I'll have to go home. And
That is true.
See,
That is
so
true.
I might as well be in my pajamas when I'm
Or
working
work
at
in
home
a
on
restaurant
my-
that has Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so but I would prefer to work at home on my own Wi-Fi. So here's
Yeah.
my dilemma that I've been having lately. Would you like
Okay.
to hear my latest dilemma?
Let's go for it.
It's called Reese's Eggs. Do you know what those are? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I heard they were good.
Okay, it's not the Reese cup. The Reese cup,
It's
two
the
Reese
egg
cups,
that has peanut butter in it.
2 Reese cups. I don't know how many calories that is. Probably 250
300.
calories or so. And you get the 2 in the pack and they cost like $1, right? But at Ingles and various other convenience stores around town now, what you're going to find is the egg version of this.
I did not know that Ingles was a convenience store.
Well, I'm Ingles and it's convenient for me. It's convenient. Ingles is convenient for me. But what is convenient about it, and the reason why is because they put them up at the front in these yellow boxes.
It's called an end cap, is what those are called, where they set those.
Wow.
That's an end cap, so you can grab and go, so they can make that extra sale.
It's doing some serious damage to me at this point in time because what I've been doing is now, if you buy 2 in a pack,
They put those there for
that's
kids.
$1, right? But if you buy the eggs, which are basically the size of 2 Reese cups, they're 60, 50, 60 cents. So what I've been doing is buying like 4 at a time. This is terrible. Terrible. And I have to have them before I go to bed. I've gotten hooked on them. I've got to have one to taste and eat before I go to bed. Now, do you have anything that you have to have
I
to
had
go
a
to bed
bowl
at night?
of peanut butter Captain Crunch last night
No,
before I went to bed.
that's not something I would have thought would even be in your pantry up there. Was
Why?
peanut butter Captain Crunch?
Why?
I don't know.
What would you
Cereal.
think would be?
I would have thought you had Special K.
I like Special K.
Or maybe like
Rice
corn
Chex.
flakes.
Rice Chex.
Chex.
Rice
would
Chex
be-
are actually my favorite
Yeah,
cereal.
I like Rice Chex. That's like
I
the
like Honey
adult
Nut Cheerios.
cereal. But anyway, so now I'm starting today, and I'm gonna break my Reese cup egg. They're not really like egg, like round like a Cadbury. They're flat.
Well, eggs aren't round; they're oval. But
Well,
anyway.
you know what I mean. They're not 3-dimensional. They
Yeah.
are 3-dimensional.
They're
flat.
cut in half.
Yes, and they have them down here at the convenience store when I leave out of here. Now, see,
Got a
when I go to get
marathon?
I'll go to get my paper, which I won't be able to do this morning. But when I go get my paper, there they are, 50 cents, 50 cents, 50 cents. You can't buy a candy bar for 50 cents. I want to like stock up on 30 of them, but I know better because if I stock up on,
You know,
30
I
of
put
them-
on there the other day weird snack combinations, weird food combinations of things that you like.
Yes, and I was so grossed out by what you put. Y'all,
What
what
did
grossed out. Whatever you put, I couldn't even hardly read it.
Was it
No,
the bologna
no,
and peanut
no.
butter? The bologna and pimento cheese sandwich?
That's gross. That's gross. Did it even have any bread on it? Or
Yeah,
was it
it's a
just-
sandwich.
okay.
If it doesn't
I
have
thought-
bread, it's not a sandwich.
Well, you can sandwich something between
What I do
something
is
and make it a sandwich.
a piece of bread, a piece of bread, a piece of bologna, a piece of bologna, pimento cheese in the middle, slammed together, and it was good. But I like popcorn and Rolos.
Okay, together at the same time. Like that's a movie theater thing.
Right. I still eat it at home.
I bought some popcorn.
Mhm.
I finally bought some popcorn because I figured that's a good, like if you're sitting around at night and you're snacking, that's a good,
If you
have
get the
popcorn.
non-butter.
I got the non-butter kind because I don't like that
See, it ain't worth a nickel then.
butter. Well, the problem is that I'm on my computer most of the time, so if I get the popcorn that has the butter on it, before you know it, I'm gonna have
Butter everywhere.
Oh yeah, my computer face, like you can look at it now. You can see cat hair. You can see chunks of chocolate.
Well, see, you can see the butter on
Peanuts.
mine right here, the buttery fingertips
Oh,
on
that's
mine.
terrible. Yeah, and so the other thing is lately is real butter. I love real butter, not margarine. I don't like margarine.
Margarine is bad for you.
And I'm gonna tell you something. This is how bad I like my real butter. I went and bought a whole new thing of real butter, and it's that.
Hot sauce on popcorn. Yes, that is good.
Okay, I
We
love
ate
hot
that in the
sauce.
Army.
But when I go on diets, what I do is instead of having hot sauce with my meat, I'll have hot sauce but on fresh vegetables. 'Cause
Oh,
I
yeah.
love hot sauce. So
Hot sauce on my salad.
instead of having wings and hot sauce, I'll have baked cauliflower and hot sauce, or I'll have baked broccoli with, or even just fresh broccoli. And yeah, but I have a salad every day because my daughter at work
Baked chicken with
I
hot
have
sauce.
Baked chicken with hot sauce is good too. Yeah, that's pretty much the reason why I even cook chicken is to eat with my hot sauce. But I was saying something about my butter. Oh, turns out that cats really like butter too.
And
Cats love, they like popcorn. Well, anyway, Cats like butter. So the other day I bought this butter, and it was the European style salted butter. And I left it sitting on the table out in front of me. Next thing I know, my cat was like licking off the butter. And this is terrible, 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 but I'm going to admit to it anyway. I saved that butter. Yes, I did. I did not want to throw that whole entire brand new stick of $3 worth of butter away, so I just scraped the part where the cat had been. Look, it's terrible. I don't know what y'all are going to think of me after this, but I just scraped the butter part that the cat had been to off the top, put it right back in the refrigerator. So, yeah, so now you have just probably too many details about me than you actually wanted to know. What are some of your all's weird snacking things that you do out there this morning? Let us know. You can go to our Facebook page at Woody, Greenville Today with Woody J, and look us up if you haven't given us a like yet. We'd appreciate all the likes you have out there for us. And what you can do is you can take our Facebook page and you can share it on other people's pages, or you can share it on your own page and encourage your family and friends to give us a like. We're at, I think, 517 right now. I'd love to get to 600 in the next couple of days. Yeah, and we've got some really exciting things coming up that are going to be connected to Facebook. Woody and I are in the very, very, very final processes of getting our Kickstarter campaign. Now, if you're not familiar with Kickstarter, go out and look it up. What it is it's a way for small organizations, small businesses, small nonprofits, small, you know, Woody and I are small. We're basically, you know, doing Greenville news and politics out of the basement of Woody's house, which is pretty exciting, by the way. But what we're doing, this IPTV television network that we've got, Internet Protocol Television that we're doing, and we're trying to raise just a little bit of money so we can upgrade our equipment a little bit. And the way that we thought would be the best to do this would be through a Kickstarter campaign. And so what we're going to do is beginning, it'd be so nice if we could start tomorrow, but it looks like it's going to be about around Wednesday or maybe toward the end of the week. And we're going to spend about a month, 3 weeks or so raising money. And we're going to do it through Kickstarter. And you're going to see a lot of posts about Kickstarter. And if you don't know anything about it, go and look it up on the web. It's very fascinating. And we will have items available for sale, and you can purchase these items and the funds will come back to us, and we'll be using those to upgrade our equipment. It will be things like we'll have keychains, we'll have t-shirts, and we've gone round and round about the t-shirts, magnets for your coffee cups, that kind of thing. We've gone round and round about the t-shirts. Now I wanted to do a really cheap t-shirt, inexpensive I should say, t-shirt. Woody he won on this point. We are not doing t-shirts. He wants a nice, good, quality t-shirt. So the t-shirts that we have available will be quality t-shirts. They will not be cheap, fall apart t-shirts like Mary would do if she was in charge. No, go ahead.
Let's see, baked chicken and hot sauce, and also cauliflower is great. Yeah, with hot sauce on it.
Now it's got to go
mix a fruit smoothie.
I'm jealous.
With hot sauce?
Yeah, with hot sauce. Everything with hot. I get
cheese on saltines with a drop of hot sauce in the middle, heated slightly. Yeah.
Yeah, I like butter. Speaking of my butter, I told my terrible butter story while you were gone, where the cat got in my butter and I saved the butter anyway, Woody. I did not throw it away. It's terrible, isn't it? I just scraped the top layer off.
No, if it's yours, that's...
Me and my cat. But my cat didn't come back last night. That's too
I believe
nice.
I would have had to clean my toilet with my cat, though.
Well, he likes butter, it turns out. But anyway, I like butter on crackers instead of butter. You know, instead of the.
When I was a kid, we ate mayonnaise and crackers.
Okay, no, can't talk about that. That's gross.
Butter on crackers is good. I like that one.
Butter,
like
good butter, not margarine.
Right.
Real.
Well, we've already established
yes,
butter.
Okay.
Margarine's not butter.
No,
That's
it's
margarine.
Not. No, my cat will not eat margarine. You all, if you've not done this before in your life, try this theory out. This is the reason why I only eat butter. Take a stick of margarine, put it outside. Just set it outside. There's nothing in nature that's going to eat that stick of margarine. Nothing. Not one thing in nature will consume that margarine. Nature knows that margarine's not right.
Will it eat butter?
Absolutely. You take the butter out there and all kinds of...
Birds
the cat
will
eat it. Everything will eat it because they know that's a natural product.
You mean a dog won't even eat margarine?
Nothing will eat margarine. Nothing will eat margarine. You see if you can get a dog to eat margarine. Just stick a stick of margarine out there and see what happens. And they, you know, if you stick butter outside, everything
Well,
in
I
nature.
did see that once, but he started licking his butt right after he ate it.
Oh, gross.
I guess he was trying to get the taste out of his
I
mouth.
guess so. 'Cause that's about how margarine makes it. Anyway, I've let my butter philosophies.
But you know, that's another. We need to come up with a fun section of things, weird things about your pets. I had a miniature schnauzer that would not eat dog food unless I heated it up in the microwave and put salt and pepper on it.
Well, I say that schnauzer had never been hungry before, or that schnauzer would.
Oh yeah, he
whatever you
did,
put
because I
inside
let
it.
him go. One day I wouldn't heat it up, and I wouldn't let him have anything to eat. I said, you eat that.
One whole day. Let him go 2 days. I
Well,
guarantee
it took
that
him.
dog
It was
food
2
is-
days before he actually ate it. And but it was funny. He loved nachos and beer. He loved hot wings. He loved hot wing bones. I mean, this dog. He would play with cockroaches. We lived in Georgia.
Oh.
Everybody has cockroaches in Georgia.
Right.
But he played with the cockroaches, just with Paul, till he killed them. Then he'd pee on them.
That's wonderful.
Then he was a strange dog. It would start thundering and lightning, and he would run to the door and start barking because he felt somebody was trying to get in.
Aww.
I mean, he
He's
was a
gonna protect
protector.
you guys.
Yes, he was
Well, I have. You ever? You any of you guys out there?
17 years old and he died of cancer.
Aw. You have any friends that have dogs that they don't have kids, so their dogs are their kids? Do you have this in your life, or their grandkids, like their kids have moved down? There's
Yeah.
okay. So two of my best friends in life have 3 dogs. I think they might be down to 2 now. But anyway, they told me one time I came over to their house and they said, now, whenever you get ready to leave, you have to get the dog treats from up on top of the refrigerator. You have to throw the dog treat across the room
So you can leave.
so I can leave. And I thought, no, I'm not playing that game. When I get ready to leave, I'm not going to trick a dog into running to the other, when I get ready to leave, I'm going to go out that door.
Yeah, you think.
No, that dog was a beagle, and let me tell you something, that dog was not letting me out of that door until I threw a it's not even a joke. That dog would not let me out of that door, Woody. I tried every way I could to, and he'd get me, he'd knee me off and get me, knocked out of the way, and oh my goodness. Well, finally I broke down, got one of those treats and threw it across the room and went out that door, because that is the pattern that they had established for that dog, and there was no getting around it. So.
And you just had to be hard-headed and not listen.
Well,
Yeah.
I was like, there's no dog in the world that's going to control my day. When I get ready to leave the house, I'm going to leave the house, and the dog is not going to, I couldn't, in my mind, I couldn't, that you couldn't get around.
We have
the dog.
another one of these bacon and corned beef ramen noodles. Ingredients: a can of corn, a bag of ramen noodles, a cup of water, a cup of beef broth, and a tablespoon of bacon bits. I think you should put 2 spoons in, but in a medium saucepan, mix the corn, water, beef broth, and ramen noodles with the beef package. Mix them together, bring the water to a boil, then add bacon bits. Cook for 8 minutes or until noodles are fully cooked, and stir, then enjoy. That sounds like it would be pretty good.
That
Everybody's had those times where we've lived on the ramen noodle diets.
We all have, but I'm going to tell you something, and this is my pet peeve. I have a pet peeve in the world about ramen noodles are very, very bad for you.
Yes, they are.
So if you can avoid it, I know some people have to eat them.
But
and
I
there's
tell
not
you
really
what, when you're hungry, they're very, very good.
They are. I agree. They do fill your tummy up, but oh my goodness, there's no telling what's floating around, all the toxins that are floating around in there. What else do we have coming up exciting? We are selling advertisement. If anybody out there knows anybody who would like to advertise on Greenville Today with Woody J and Mary Hayes, please let us know.
We've talked about the meetings that are coming up.
Yeah?
I want to know about, the Greene County Commission meeting that was postponed, and they're going to redo that.
But no, that's not tomorrow night.
That's
Tomorrow night's
Thursday.
the mayor and alderman.
Yes, tomorrow's the mayor and alderman.
Then the next one's the 16th. Is the county.
Yes, the
county
16th. And have you heard about the Long Range Planning Commission meeting?
No, I have not got a reschedule on that yet.
I guess we need to check
Not that I'm aware of.
Maybe you should have thrown a stick of margarine to that dog to fit so you could leave, man.
Margarine across the room. I'm sure anything would have worked. I think it was the sound.
That's a good one, Ray.
Well, I mean, and he would hear this. He would follow the sound of the dog treat as it hit the wall, so
Right.
he knew where it was in the room from. So that may have actually worked, but there was me thinking that I was actually more stubborn than a dog, which I'm not, it turns out. That reminds me, okay, so I went to Knoxville this weekend, speaking of weird foods. And in Knoxville, my brother, who knows crazy stuff, anyway, he always knows the guy has the crazy information about the crazy places. He took me to an actual Asian restaurant. Okay. You name something that you think you could find at an Asian restaurant. Goat head. They had goat head.
Kimchi.
They had, I don't know what that is, but I bet they had it. They had rows and rows and rows of stuff that had, and it was all in Asian writing, so you couldn't really tell which were all kinds of desserts, all kinds of drinks, all kinds of seafood, all kinds of body parts of every kind of body of any kind of animal that you ever thought of. But one thing they had was little bitty baby octopuses about this big. They were like teeny weeny little.
I love those things.
Right. And so one of the teenagers that was with us decided he had to eat one of those. I mean, he didn't want anything else. He didn't want any candy, didn't want any. I've got to have one of those little octopuses. Please buy me and cook me one of those little octopuses. Oh, please, please, please. He never even had one before, but he just genuinely, and it had a little head on it about that big, of course, 8 arms, you know. So I said, well, I'll buy it. You know, because I didn't know how much they were going to cost. Well, it was 53 cents for one, so I wish I'd have bought, 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, I'd bought a pound or 2 of them.
Yeah, so I took 53 cents for one, so I brought it home. Little teeny, I'm telling you, it's a little teeny weeny octopus. It was already dead, so I didn't have to kill it. I washed it out and let it soak for a minute, and then I dipped it in milk. And because my thinking on is, how do you cook it? How would you have cooked it?
I would have dipped it in milk and then dipped it in flour.
I'm thinking deep frying.
And I would have deep fried it. That's the way I would have done it. Or grilled it.
I don't know about the grilling, but I was thinking deep fry it, quick, get all the water out of it, because otherwise it's probably going to be chewy anyway. I've never had one, so
if you overcook it, it is chewy. If you don't overcook it, it's very tender and just bite right through it.
Okay,
delicious.
So now I know where I went wrong, because I clearly over
3 minutes. Period.
3 minutes. Okay, no, I cooked it. Wait, I probably cooked it because my concern was not cooking it long enough, Woody. I was afraid I would.
Seafood, shrimp, lobster, it all cooks in about 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so I cooked that little octopus.
Yes,
and
I am
breaded it, and it's hard. They're hard to cook too because they're weird in the pan. They're not laying flat. You kind of have to, flip them over. So I cooked that little octopus. And he ate it. He ate every bit of it. But he didn't want to eat it. He didn't want to put it in his mouth and put it down and put it in his mouth again. So he had to wait.
You take it.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. Because he said, I don't know for sure if it's going to go down or not. So I want to make sure. But the minute reminded me of that a few minutes ago. Is the minute I put it in the oil, like its little legs were like this, right?
Yeah, and
the
then
they went whoop, and they just completely curled right up in that oil.
That's what they're supposed to do.
Anyway, that's what happened. So that was my calamari experience. Everybody kept saying calamari. That was octopus. That's what that was.
That's what calamari is, baby octopus. Is all it is.
Yeah, you need to, if you want
most
to know
places,
where to buy
most places
octopus,
calamari does not have the tentacles.
Oh,
most
so they're
places.
just taking the head and
no, they're
where
cutting it
getting
into rings.
The head.
But see, if you have, I've had calamari before that was actually real octopus. Because they had it in strips, and it was like that thick, and it was so tender. It was breaded and fried, but I love seafood. It's very good for you.
I do too, but this did not particularly.
Well, it
didn't smell really good either.
Chitlins don't smell good either cooking, but
that's another thing that I've not had.
Well, you hadn't missed anything.
Chitlins. So, what about our weather?
It's going to be rain. We've got rain, no snow. They're not, if we get any snow, it's really not going to be cold enough for any snow. Let's see, tonight's low temperature is going to be 36. Tomorrow night's low temperature is going to be 50. So we're on the upswing. Rain continuing through most of the week. Friday night, Thursday night we're looking for a low of about 32. Friday night about 24. Saturday night's gonna be 29. Sunday, it's gonna be sunny, mostly sunny, and a high of 52. So yeah, we're kinda getting more seasonable, normal seasonable temperatures.
Well, we're not that far away from spring now either, so
My
we should
comedian
be.
buddy David Beck, he's a funny dude.
We could just hang out here and look at each other's Facebook feed.
I want the people at home to think of something weird, crazy, and different. That, I mean, we talked about recipes of snacks, you know, weird snacks that people do. We talked about that one day the spaghetti and catfish restaurant. They served the spaghetti and catfish. It didn't sound good, but
What?
yeah, that was the big thing. You got a pile of spaghetti and a piece of catfish on both sides of it. And yeah, no, it
Can't
doesn't
go wrong
sound
with
good.
catfish.
Can't go wrong with catfish or spaghetti. Both of them are good.
Well, it's kind of like a
a pork chop and a
Parmesan.
steak.
Parmesan chicken or something. You know what I mean? Like that's how you'd have your chicken parm.
Parmesan fish, yeah.
Yeah, Parmesan fish. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
But
Are we hungry this morning? What is that?
I am. I
what's happening?
think we should go eat breakfast.
Well, I'm not eating with you, but I'll go eat breakfast on my own. I don't like to be seen in public with this guy, you know what I mean? Because all the women rush him whenever we go someplace.
You know better than that.
They want his autograph. Like, oh, Woody!
No, now
Oh.
see, what you're seeing, you're just seeing the people who really know me. And that's all that they respond to me
Or
because they
barely
know
know
I'm a
you,
nice,
because if they really
they know
knew
I'm
you,
a
they
nice
would want
guy.
your... Yeah, is that
They
it?
know I'm a nice guy. They know I can be something else, but they know that, you know, they're not stupid, so that's the only thing that makes me not a nice guy.
Right.
Stupid.
And so we have some guests this week. We'll have Tim coming in at some point in time now. I think, well, what's happened is that it's picked up this weekend. Everything's sort of picked up. We were just like frozen, literally,
Mm-hmm.
for a while, and then things kind of picked up. And I don't know if you were out Saturday night. Did you go out any Saturday night?
I did.
Well, it was just as I said it would be.
I just got out to see what was going on. I drove downtown and it was
And it was
just,
busy.
it was, well,
A lot of
Main
traffic on the
Street,
roads.
Main Street was dead, but down Depot, I guess everybody was at the General Morgan because nothing on Depot was open other than Tipton's, and there's no way all of those people were in Tipton's.
No.
Wouldn't
so
hold
they were
it.
probably at the General Mart. It's probably something fancy.
But I was just thinking, that's the problem right there. It was something fancy going on, you know. And there's nothing else was open downtown because there's nothing to revitalize and open. Lawyers don't do business at night.
Nope.
Sunday night's not a night for church, or Saturday night's not a church night for most of the churches down there.
Nope.
You know, I just keep going back, what can we do? I agree it's a great idea. I agree we do need to revitalize downtown. What are we going to do?
Well, I'll go
Where
back
are we
to
going? What are we going to get the lawyers to sell their business to somebody else and then go somewhere else to put their business? No, they're going to stay right down by the courthouse.
That's right. Which is where I would stay too if I was them.
I would too.
I could just keep going back to the model of Jonesboro. When I think about, for some reason in my mind, when I think about a downtown, revitalized
Well, even
downtown,
Morristown
it's
has
Jonesboro.
more stuff downtown. They've got just that one little street there.
And they
you
have
know?
something weird going on with the, you can walk.
They've got that walkway that goes
you can
across
walk over
Main Street.
Right. You can walk over the street. And it's
See, they
covered.
used to, they were, years ago when I lived in Morristown, they were trying to get that stable so they could open that back up.
Is it not open?
And I don't know if it is now or
No.
not, but it used to be closed.
Well, the thing, downtown Morristown has a lot of like little eclectic shops.
It does.
That you wouldn't go, like there, you can't go to the mall and find the stuff that you would find
Yeah.
in those shops.
But you can find more than
Specific.
one or two shops.
They have a music shop.
They do.
They have a
Nice music store.
They have a
Furniture
Antiques
store. They've got a
and
shoe
furniture.
shoe store.
couple of restaurants, but they're not your typical restaurants.
No,
they're
they're
you
your
know,
little sandwich
interesting
shops and coffee house
restaurants.
types.
Right.
And those are the kind they've got one little bar down there that has live entertainment, or they used to. And
Jonesboro has
They
a
got it
candy
together.
store. That's my favorite. They have a candy store and an ice cream store down there, so you can
Yeah, but see, the thing about it is, you need, when we go down to buy our ice cream, we need other things to walk around
And
and do
they
while we
have that in Jonesboro.
See, and in Jonesboro they do. They have the storytelling center down
They
there.
have a museum that,
They have some restaurants. And
I'm trying to think of the name of that museum, but it used to be it's interesting. It used
it used to be a hotel, right?
And you go in there and there's a lot of history involved in there. And the museum
Well, see, that's
itself
Tennessee's oldest
is
town.
free. You know, it's free. The museum is free.
Yeah.
Now the storytelling center you can go into, but they don't offer a whole lot of free programming.
No, no. But the point being is, you can go and you can pay and hear the old traditional storytelling. They bring in the pros. They've got a little community center thing down by the library or somewhere that we saw Leon Redbone in concert.
Sounds like a blues player.
Yeah, he did the Budweiser songs years ago.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I can't remember any of his songs, but he kind of sang through his nose.
I forgot the most important discovery of the whole weekend.
What?
Trader Joe's. I should have brought you some of these. I can't believe this. Trader Joe's has these things called chili covered mangoes. Have you ever had such a thing?
Yes.
Have you really?
My mother-in-law loves Trader Joe's. She goes every time that we take her up north. We come back with a trunk full of Trader Joe's.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
man.
you never would have. If you'd asked me at 2 o'clock yesterday whether or not I would be consuming a mango covered in chili, it's a dried mango,
yeah.
and they're just like coated in sugar, I would have said there's no chance. Well, they talked me into taking a bite of that. My mouth had never experienced that before. My mouth was like,
totally
you so
different.
much. Yeah,
It didn't taste
so
like
good.
dried fruit.
No, thank goodness, because
It did not taste like dried fruit.
And I told you
Right.
at the back of that bag because I was expecting there to be some. It was so delicious, so incredibly
Trader
delicious.
Joe's got healthy stuff.
And it was healthy. It was like nothing but carbs on the back of it. I was like, this is really fruit, but covered in chili. Y'all, if you have not had that before, get a hold of Trader Joe's and get yourself
Where
some
is it?
mango
Knoxville's the closest one, right?
Yeah, it's near Westtown Mall. It's like before you get to Westtown Mall, kind of across the street from Westtown Mall.
Take your credit card with you because it's kind of expensive, but everything is
okay.
quality.
Some of the stuff was expensive, but then
Some
the
of it's
cheeses, they have an incredible
They do.
cheese selection, and their cheeses are actually less expensive than, I got a really nice triple cream Gouda cheese too.
It was Gouda, huh?
It was Gouda.
Very Gouda. Very
It was
Gouda.
Gouda.
Jonesboro also has a great music store downtown. Ray has told us, mentioned, and yes, they do.
Yeah, I don't know about
Jonesboro
that music
has
store.
Jonesboro has
I don't know that
a
music
music
store downtown.
community.
I'd like to know
They've
the
got
name
a
of
good
that.
music community over there.
Yeah, they do a lot of free shows on the. I want to say it's something like Lyrics on the Line, but
Yeah,
they have a regular
music off Main
music
Street
off
or
Main
on
or
Main
something like
Street,
that, yeah.
something.
a lot
They
of
do.
bluegrass and traditional type music
Yes,
that they.
yes,
that they do
and
there.
there is a big marketplace for that. The Grascals are coming to Impact.
Yeah, I saw that.
Speaking of bluegrass, but we've got about 18 minutes left, and we are about to get to the end of everything.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll call it a day today. And no meetings tonight. American Legion Post meets at 7. They're right off Snaps Ferry Road at 101 Longview Drive. Veterans are welcome to attend. Davy Crockett Region of the Antiques Automobile Club of America has its monthly meeting at Ryan's tonight. Meal starts at 6, meeting at 7. Let's see, Mary mentioned the Greene County Education Committee meeting, 3:30 this afternoon at Central Office. And that pretty much got all the meetings for today.
Yeah. No more meetings?
And
I know the big one for me is going to be tomorrow night at
tomorrow
4.
afternoon,
Tomorrow afternoon
4
at 4.
o'clock.
And that's
Yes.
the board of mayor and aldermen that I'll be going to. And then we're going to have Wendy Hankins here this week to talk with us a little bit about the county commission and what's going on with that. So we should have really good updates twice this week on what's going on both in the county government and in the city government. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll know we'll know everything that's going on before it's all said and done.
Oh, did you know that your coffee addiction is officially good for you?
I did know that.
And we'll talk about that tomorrow. I forgot to bring this story up today.
I never do anything that's not good for me.
But,
Woody.
well, you hang with me.
Okay, so there you go. Do one bad thing in my life.
That one is enough, right?
Right.
Folks, I hope you had a great weekend. Hope you're off to a good start for your week so far. We did what we can do to help. If you don't feel better about yourself after watching us,
There's something terribly wrong.
oh my goodness, bless your heart. I guess you could say.
We're glad to have all of our people back this morning. Bill, everybody out there, thank you all so much.
Richard
for
finally
calling
chimed in with a note for me, and he said, "Good show. Thank you very much, and we appreciate that. Have yourselves a great day. Be careful out in the rain. Peace and love.
Peace
We'll
and love.
see.